You're about to understand why your previous sentences seem to hit a glass ceiling. I know it's no coincidence that you're here. It's not the algorithm, it's a date. Today I felt in my heart that your provision is already on its way, but not in the way the world taught you to ask for it. Something within you, perhaps a weariness you can't quite explain, brought you to this video. The access code was always on your lips, but today, at last, you're going to learn how to turn the key. Stay, because this is only for those who have ears to hear. Before your mind tries to analyze what I'm about to say, I need you to stop the noise. Wherever you are, if it's safe to do so, relax your shoulders. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Feel the air fill your lungs. Hold that breath for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And exhale slowly through your mouth. Feel the tension of how am I going to pay or what am I going to do dissolve for a moment. Your nervous system needs to know that in this moment you are safe. Provision doesn't flow in chaos. It flows in peace. Breathe once more. Now you are ready. We have often repeated the Lord's Prayer like a religious litany, almost by rote, without noticing that within those words, Jesus left a legal blueprint for physical existence. When he says, "Give us this day our daily bread," he is not suggesting a beggar's plea, but a son's submission. In the original Greek, the word for bread and for day is a theological mystery that points to the substance necessary for tomorrow's sustenance, brought into the present. This changes everything. The Bible doesn't say you should live in anxiety about tomorrow, but rather that the provision code is activated in today. God is not a God of yesterday, nor a God of someday. He is the I am. When you ask for your daily bread, you are activating a spiritual law, the law of worthy dependence. You are not a slave begging for scraps. You are an heir, claiming the portion that has already been allotted to you in the storehouses of creation. I know what it's like to stare at the ceiling at 3 in the morning. I know what it's like to feel like the numbers don't add up and that the effort seems to be paying off. But I want to tell you something that perhaps no one has told you. That stagnation you feel is not a punishment. It's your invisible preparation. So me times. Heaven is silent not because it has forgotten you, but because it is expanding your capacity to handle what is coming. If provision were to arrive before your character was ready, it would destroy you. Your weariness is real, I understand, but it is not the end of your story. It is the tension of the arrow before it is released. That emptiness you feel in your hands today is the space God is clearing to fill with something that does not depend on the economy of this world, but on His faithfulness. How do we apply this code in 2 minutes? The key isn't repetition, but intention. The provision code is based on 3 pillars that the Lord's Prayer whispers in our ear. First, acknowledgement of fatherhood. If you don't establish that He is Father, you will always ask like a stranger. Second, the order of the kingdom. We ask that His will be done on earth as it is in heaven before we ask for bread. Why? Because when the kingdom of God is established in your mind, scarcity becomes illegal in your reality. Third, focus on today. The code breaks when you try to pray for the next 10 years' bread. The manna in the desert rotted if it was kept for the next day. Why? Because God wanted His people to practice daily trust. Stress is the human attempt to control the future. Faith is the divine ability to rest in the present. If you have what you need for today, the code is working. Tomorrow, the code will be renewed. To understand the code that changes everything, we must look at the Lord's Prayer not as a prayer that is said, but as a place that is entered. Imagine for a moment that your life is a radio frequency. Scarcity, death, and fear broadcast on a low frequency, full of static divine provision. the kind Jesus described, broadcasts on a high-fidelity frequency. The problem has never been that the signal doesn't exist. The problem is that we've been trying to tune into heaven's abundance with the dial of earthly fear. When you say, "Thy will be done," you're making a massive frequency shift. It's not passive surrender. It's a strategy of spiritual warfare. You're saying, "I'm taking my hands off control and allowing the designer of the universe to take command." In that precise instant, resistance falls away. Provision isn't something you manufacture through extreme sweat. It's something you attract through alignment. If your will is at war with God's, the flow is blocked. But when you say, "Thy will be done," the channel is cleared. It's as if heaven receives legal permission to intervene in your finances, your health, and your peace of mind. I want you to visualize this with me. Imagine you enter a room flooded with warm light, a light that doesn't burn, but embraces. Feel the weight you carry on your neck, the weight of bills, broken promises, and uncertainty slide to the floor like a heavy, old cloak. In this place, there is no lack. There is a feeling of physical fullness, as if every cell in your body knows it no longer has to fight to survive. Feel the relief in your chest. That oppression is gone. What you are experiencing in this exercise of faith is the reality of the kingdom. Jesus didn't teach us to ask for bread because God was stingy, but because he wanted us to remember that we are children of a king. The relief you feel now is proof that your spirit recognizes the truth. The stagnation is over because you have chosen to align yourself with the source, not the resource. The resource may run out, but the source is eternal. If at this moment you feel a warmth in your chest or a peace that you couldn't explain 5 minutes ago, it's because your spirit is confirming this word. I want to ask you to do something powerful together to seal this teaching, and so that the message reaches those who are losing hope today. Write in the comments, "My provision has a name and surname, Son of God." By writing this, you are not only helping this video reach more people who need this balm, but you are also making a public confession. You are declaring before the spiritual world that your identity is no longer debtor, unemployed, or scarce, but that your identity is that of an heir. Let your comment be a seed of faith that activates the algorithm of blessing for others and for yourself. I read each of your messages, and today I will be praying specifically for every name that appears there. Let's return to the sacred text. Thy kingdom come. What is a kingdom? It is a jurisdiction where the laws of the king prevail, not the laws of the outside world. If you live in the kingdom, the inflation of your country is not your limitation. If you live in the kingdom, a lack of connections is not your barrier. The provision in the Lord's Prayer is a pious, as we mentioned, but it is also a command for provision. In ancient times, when an ambassador traveled to distant lands, he didn't carry his own money. He carried the king's seal. His provision was guaranteed by the treasury of his home nation. You are an ambassador of Christ on earth. Your daily bread is the budget heaven allocates for you to fulfill your mission here. If you feel stuck, you've probably forgotten who pays your bills. It's not your boss. It's not the government. It's your Father. When the code is activated, resources appear from unexpected places. A phone call, a creative idea, an unexpected favor. The provision code doesn't add up, it multiplies. There's a trap. We've all fallen into living in the tomorrow of anxiety or in the yesterday of lack, but Jesus' code is strictly present. Give us today why it is insistence on the now, because fear can only survive in a time that doesn't exist. Fear feeds on what might happen or on what has already hurt. But in God's today, there's always enough. When you activate this code, you cease to be an anxiety accumulator and become a miracle steward. Provision is not a mountain of gold you receive all at once. It is a constantly flowing river. If you try to stagnate the river for fear it will dry up, the water stagnates. The secret of those who walk in spiritual abundance is that they have learned to let go of what they received yesterday, trusting fully that the source will not run dry tomorrow. The stagnation you felt was simply a knot in the hose of your faith. Today, by understanding the code of the Lord's Prayer, that knot unties itself. I want you to feel the freedom that comes with this truth. You don't have to convince God to help you. He already knows what you need before you even open your mouth. The Lord's Prayer isn't a coin you put in a machine to make a profit. It's a reminder that your Father owns the mind. Imagine a small child in a home where nothing is lacking. That child doesn't wake up wondering if there will be breakfast or a roof over their head. They simply live, play, and grow because they trust completely in their parents' provision. That is the deep humility I invite you to today. Release the burden of being your own absolute provider. You are a partner with God, not His substitute. Feel your shoulders relax, your neck release the tension. You are under a divine design of care that is far older than your current problems. Now, let's seal this code in your spirit. I ask that, if you can, you place your hand on your heart. Let's decree together, not from despair, but from the authority of those who have been called to this moment. Repeat after me, either aloud or in the silence of your mind, but with the certainty that your words are creating your reality. Today I receive the provision that already has my name on it. What is mine by right of inheritance finds me now. I release control of tomorrow and rest in my Father's faithfulness today. My cup overflows because my fountain is inexhaustible. Father, I bless every person who is listening to these words. I decree that the spirit of scarcity and spiritual blindness are broken right now. May your eyes be opened to see the opportunities, ideas, and blessings that are already surrounding you. Thank you because the code of the Lord's Prayer is not a religion, it is a life reality. Amen. What you have experienced today is only the first step of a much deeper awakening. You are part of the select group who have decided to stop begging and start reigning in their own lives. But this path of mystical accompaniment has only just begun. If you feel this is your place and time, subscribe and turn on notifications. Don't let the noise of the world make you miss your next appointment with Destiny. We are a community of purpose, and your presence here is essential. Thank you for walking with me. Remember, you are not alone. You are being guided toward your provision. See you in the next revelation.